There's a show on MGM Plus that has been quietly doing something that most horror shows completely fail at. It has been building a mystery so layered, so dense, and so carefully constructed that after 3 full seasons, the fandom still cannot agree on what is actually happening. I am talking about From. And right now, with season 4 actively airing, the theories are getting wilder than ever. So today, we are going to do something a little different. We are not just going to recap what happened. We are going to dig into what it all actually means. The sacrifices, the cycles, the ghost children, the monsters, the man in yellow, and the one question the whole show is circling but refuses to answer directly. How does this end? If you have been sleeping on From, that changes today. And if you are already deep in the rabbit hole, buckle up because we are going deeper. Let us start with the basics because some people watching this might be new. From is a sci-fi horror series created by John Griffin and executive produced by Jeff Pinkner, the same guy behind Lost, Alias, and Fringe. That last connection is not a coincidence. From has that same DNA. It is a show that makes you feel like there are answers underneath every single scene if you just look closely enough. The premise is deceptively simple. There is a town in rural America. People get trapped inside it. They cannot leave. At night, monsters come out and kill anyone who is not behind a talisman. During the day, everyone tries to figure out how to escape. Season after season, they get closer to answers, and every answer just opens 3 more questions. What makes From different from your average horror show is that it commits to its mythology. There is a real internal logic to this world. The monster rules are consistent. The visions follow a pattern. The storytelling is deliberate. This is not a show that makes things up as it goes and hopes you forget last season. Which is exactly why when we start piecing together the fan theories, they actually hold up under scrutiny. Most of them anyway. The show is currently in its 4th season, which premiered on April 19, 2026 on MGM+. It holds a 96% score on Rotten Tomatoes and is the most watched series in the entire history of the network. So this is not some niche cult show anymore. This thing has a massive audience, and that audience has been building theories since day one. Let us get into them. Everything in From, every monster, every ghost child, every haunted vision traces back to a single origin point, an original deal, a moment where a group of people chose power over everything else. Here is what the show has slowly revealed and what the fandom has been piecing together across 3 seasons. A long time ago, a group of people were offered something impossible. Immortality. The price was brutal. 7 children sacrificed, and the people took the deal. That ritual did not just kill those children, it created something, a dimension, a pocket of reality folded in on itself designed to replay the same horror over and over. The town is not just a place. It is a machine, and the machine exists to run one program in a loop. Force a mother to sacrifice her child. That is the recurring objective, not escape, not survival. The town does not actually want to kill everyone in it. It wants to recreate the original ritual. It wants a parent to willingly give up their child. And once that happens, the cycle resets, everyone forgets, and it starts again. Now here is where it gets genuinely disturbing. Some of the people currently trapped in the town may have been through this before, not as the same people but as the same souls. Reincarnated. Brought back to play their roles again because the ritual requires specific individuals in specific positions. Season 3 confirmed 2 of those people. In the Season 3 finale, the show dropped one of its biggest reveals to date. Jade and Tabitha are not just unlucky tourists who wandered into the wrong town, they are reincarnated versions of 2 of the original 14 parents. Specifically, the 2 parents who tried to stop the original sacrifice, Miranda and Christopher. 2 people who, when it came down to it, refused to give up their children, and because they refused, the deal was incomplete. The cycle could not end properly, so the town pulled them back, again and again. Every time the cycle resets, versions of Miranda and Christopher come back trying to break the pattern. The show confirmed this through a musical clue that has been hiding in plain sight. The numbers carved into the bottle trees were not coordinates or dates, they were musical notes. A lullaby, a song that was sung to one of the sacrificed children. When Jade played it, the ghost children appeared, and the full picture clicked into place. This is one of those moments where good TV writing pays off. The clue was there, the audience was looking at it, nobody made the connection until the show decided it was time. That is craft. So we now know why Tabitha and Jade keep coming back. They are the anchors, the incomplete variables in an equation that keeps failing to balance. and the man in yellow knows this, which is exactly why he killed Jim. Let us talk about the man in yellow because Season 3 finally gave us our first real look at him, and the mythology around this character is genuinely fascinating. In the Season 3 finale, an old man with black eyes wearing ragged yellow clothing walked out of the woods. He confirmed he was the voice on the radio that Jim had spoken with back in Season 1. Then he killed Jim, right in front of Julie. His parting line was essentially a warning: knowledge has consequences. That line is the key to understanding who this character is. The leading theory in the fandom, and one that has been gaining serious traction, connects the man in yellow to a figure from classic horror mythology. Hastur, also known as the King in Yellow, also known as the Unspeakable One. Hastur originates from a collection of stories written by Robert W. Chambers in 1895. He was later expanded upon by H.P. Lovecraft and integrated into the broader Cthulhu mythos, where he became a great old one, essentially a cosmic entity of immense power. Lovecraft described Hastur as a being associated with madness and spiritual corruption. And here is the piece that stops you cold when you connect it to From. In the Chambers stories, there is a place called Carcosa. It is described as a location of madness that absorbs and consumes other towns, leaving behind ruins. People who live near it slowly lose their minds or are trapped within its influence. Sound familiar? The From town has unexplained ruins scattered throughout the woods. People go mad from their time there. Knowledge destroys sanity. The cycle consumes everyone who enters. The parallels between Carcosa and Fromville are not subtle once you see them. If the man in yellow is this show's version of Hastur, a cosmic entity that feeds on suffering and madness, then the town is not a prison someone built. It is a feeding ground, and the ritual sacrifice that created it was not the cause, it was the invitation. Season 4 is already digging deeper into this. The official tagline is literally, "Knowledge comes at a cost." The show is not hiding what direction it is heading. Now here is the theory that genuinely blew my mind when I first came across it. Julie is not just a character in the story, she might be the one telling it. By the end of Season 3, it is confirmed, both by Ethan and through the man in yellow encounter, that Julie has the ability to travel backwards through time. The show calls it storywalking. She can move through the past and observe or interact with moments that already happened. The theory goes like this. If the whole From situation is built around a story, a literal children's story that was told to the sacrificed children to give them some framework for the horror they experienced, then rewriting that story could change the outcome. Not the events themselves, but what they meant, what the children were given to understand about their existence. The original story the children were told was dark. It was built around suffering, isolation, and darkness. That story became the rulebook for the From dimension. The monsters, the night, the talismans, all of it reflects the logic of a story told to traumatized children. But what if Julie goes all the way back to the beginning and tells them a different story? One with hope in it, one where they are not abandoned, one where someone comes to save them instead of sacrifice them. Some fan theories suggest that this is the actual ending of From, not a battle, not a sacrifice, a story. Julie walks back through time and becomes the narrator of a different version of events, and by changing what the children were told, she changes the rules of the dimension itself. That would be one of the most literary endings in recent horror TV history. And given that Jeff Pinkner came from Lost, a show that loved symbolic and thematic resolutions, it is not out of the question. There is one character in From who has survived longer than anyone else in the town: Victor, an old man who has been there since childhood when the last cycle played out and left him the sole survivor. Victor is fascinating because he represents something the show rarely shows us: evidence of what happens when the cycle almost completes and then fails. He is the leftover, the remnant, a living artifact of the previous loop. One of the most compelling theories around Victor is this: the original ritual was initiated through a selfish act. A group of people chose their own survival over the lives of 7 children. That selfishness is baked into the foundation of the From dimension. It is what the machine runs on. To break a selfish ritual, you need a selfless one. Victor, who has suffered alone for decades, who has lost everyone he has ever known inside that town, volunteering to sacrifice himself might be the counterforce. Not killing him, not being killed, choosing freely and with full understanding to give up what he has so that others can go free. A selfless sacrifice to undo a selfish one. The logic holds, especially within the internal rules the show has been building. The complication is that Victor and Ethan seem to occupy a similar role in different cycles, which raises questions about whether multiple soul cycles can overlap. The show has not fully addressed this yet, but Season 4 may be the place where it becomes relevant. Now let us be fair, none of these theories are perfect. Every one of them runs into problems, and the smartest move is to acknowledge those rather than ignore them. The first big one is the location question. Why does this happen in the United States? Every mythology we have connected to From, Hastur, Carcosa, ancient ritual sacrifice, these are not uniquely American concepts, but the town is clearly American, rural, middle-of-nowhere American. Some fans suggest that the connection to colonization is intentional, that the land itself carries a history of exploitation and sacrifice, and the From dimension is drawing on that. Others think it is just narrative framing and the writers chose America because the show is made in America. Neither answer is fully satisfying. The second problem involves on-screen contradictions. Early fan theories went hard on the vampire angle because of the talisman rules and the nighttime activity, but the show has consistently broken those rules in ways that do not fit classic vampire mythology. The monsters appear in daylight in certain contexts. The man in yellow operates outside the normal monster rules entirely. The vampire frame does not hold. The third problem is one of scale. If the cycle has been running for a very long time, why has no version of Jade or Tabitha ever managed to break it? What makes this version different? The show implies it is something about the specific characters who have been drawn in this time, but the answer is not fully spelled out. Season 4 is going to have to start closing some of these gaps. The tagline and early episode descriptions suggest the show is moving toward answers rather than just piling on more questions. At least, that is what we are hoping. Season 4 of From premiered on April 19, 2026. We are currently in the middle of it. Episode 8 drops on June 14 and is titled Heavy is the Head. That title alone suggests someone is about to carry a very significant burden. The season is exploring the town's origins in more depth than ever before. The man in yellow is a central focus, and based on the early episodes, the closer characters get to real answers, the more dangerous the town becomes. The season tagline is deliberately chosen. Knowledge comes at a cost. We already saw that when Jim died for figuring out too much. The show is still executive produced by Jack Bender, who directed some of the most pivotal Lost episodes. His fingerprints are all over From in the best way. He understands how to build mythology that rewards patient viewers without alienating newcomers. What we can say with confidence is that this season is not going to give everything away, but it is going to move the chess pieces into positions that make a resolution in Season 5 or possibly a final Season 6 feel possible. The fandom is in full analysis mode right now. Every frame, every background detail, every piece of set design is being dissected. And that is what great genre TV does, it makes you care enough to look. So here is where we land. From is a show about a cycle built on a selfish act, sustained by a cosmic entity who may or may not be a creature out of Lovecraft's nightmares and kept running because two souls refused to play the role they were written for. The only way out might not be a door, it might be a story, a better story, told to the right children at the right moment in the right way. That is either the most beautifully constructed horror mystery on television right now or the most ambitious thing the writers are attempting, possibly both. If you are not watching From, go fix that immediately. And if you are, let me know in the comments which theory you think holds the most weight. Are you Team Hastur, Team Selfless Sacrifice, or are you on the storywalker theory? Drop your read on this below. I read every single one of them, and I will see you in the next one.